I'd like to welcome each one to our meeting December the 16th out in our local council chambers. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the land which we gather as the traditional territory of Nishnawbe, Ottawa, and Mississauga peoples. Confirmation of the agenda that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby approves the agenda for December 16th, 2024 council meeting as presented. May I have a mover? Deputy Reeve, Councillor Van Hitterson. All in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interests and the general nature thereof. Seeing none. Consent agenda that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby adopts consent item 4.1.1 and further that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives consent items 4.1.2 to 4.3.4 for information purposes. May I have a mover? Councillor Whitfield, Councillor Wright. Would anybody like to pull anything? Go ahead, Councillor Wright, please.
Yeah, thanks. Through you, I'd like to pull 4.3.2 from the agenda for some discussion.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, go. Would you like to discuss on that then, please?
Well, yeah, thanks through you, Reeve. So, you know, as I went through this letter, you know, I guess I just have an issue with the wording in it, right? I mean, it refers to basically that provides billing relief to our municipality. But they're just giving our own money back to us, which they overcharged in the previous year, right? Like this isn't in any way relief of costs. They're just returning our own money to us. And, you know, the amount that they're going to return to us is going to hit taxes next year. So I did just want to point that out. You know, I don't like the way this was slanted. It's not in any way long-term relief for our municipality. It's just basically return of overbilled payments from previous years. So I just wanted to bring that up, Reeve. Thank you.
Does anybody else have anything they'd like to bring forward? Seeing none. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Reeve. Yeah, along the same lines, I was pleased to see this. I guess I didn't want to think too deeply. I'm just concerned or hopeful that the budget is realistic for next year as well and carries on. But I think it's partly so many municipalities maybe complained about this. And hopefully, I'm glad they listened this time and hopefully it continues.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. 5.1.1 presentation from our Economic Development Officer, Ritu. If you'd like to come and present at this time. Thank you.
Thanks for having me here. So today I'm going to present the slide deck regarding the Community Improvement Plan Amendment for North Huron. Yep. So for the background, like in the North Huron Official Plan section 10.3, so that identifies goals and policies under the current legislations in the Planning Act for the development and implementation of Community Improvement Plan, and we call it CIP. CIP are adopted under section 28 of the Planning Act. And in 2018, North Huron Council adopted the North Huron CIP for commercial facade and for Blythe and Bingham downtown areas. And in June 2019, Council amended the North Huron CIP plan and add direct grants for structural work program and also expanded the CIP area and included the Belgrave. And for this time for the CIP amendment, so under action item 1.3 of the North Huron Strategic Plan of 2024 to 2027, so council directed a staff to undertake a review of the North Huron CIP for its relevancy and value. So we did the thorough review and research, and we also did detailed background studies, discussed about the CIP and what could be better for us with the different property owners, stakeholders, and ministries as well. And in October 2024, we also did CIP amendment survey, and we received good response from the businesses and the stakeholder from the North Huron. Approximately like 35 business and property owners, they shared their feedback and comments under the CIP survey. So as per the CIB surveys, like 51.4% of the business, they think that the CIP grants are offered to the businesses in the downtown Wingham. Means they were aware about the CIP existence before. And also they were in the favor, like 88.6% of the businesses were in the favor to increase the CIP areas and to include the entire township of North Huron. And for the proposed CIP amendment, like based on our review and evaluation, so we recommended council to approve the following amendments, and also we submitted that in our previous report submitted in the September. So proposed new grants would be agri-tourism grant, development charge grants, planning application, building permit fees, and site study grants, tax increment equivalent grant program, startup space leasehold improvement grant program. And these would be the additional new and existing would be their the facade and the direct grants. And second, we also recommending to expand the existing CIP area to add the entire township of North Huron under the new CIP areas. So this is the map. And we also like received comments from the local businesses and stakeholders. So as shows through the surveys and during verbal communication and during different meetings. So we receive the good and positive feedback. They are in favor of expanding the CIP areas and adding these additional proposed programs under the CIP. And from the township staff, no concern with the proposed amendments. And Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. So they provided comments and recommendations related to best practices and also some formatting related things. So we would like to recommend for the North Huron community CIP plan amendment. So we like proposed amendment. For doing so, there we have to adopt two bylaws. So first bylaw would be the bylaw number 96 2024 to adopt the amendment CIP project area as shown in Schedule A. And the second bylaw would be the bylaw number 97 2024, which is to adopt the amendment CIP. And we can wait for like, yeah.
So at this time, I can find someone. 1.2 comments by others in attendance. Seeing none. 5.1.3, we'll offer any questions, comments from council members, please. So ask you to come up. Go ahead, Councilor Wright, please.
Yeah, thanks for your Reeve. So I've got two questions if I may ask them both. The first is, I'm unsure how council would set a budget for 7.4, which is waiving development fees, and 7.6, which is tax relief, because when we set a budget, we set how much money we're going to spend, and neither of those things is money we're spending. It's not generating income, right? We're waiving income. So I'm unsure what process council would use in order to set those values, because I don't think that would actually come up during our budget process, right? So that's the first question.
Through you, Reeve, do you have another question? Sorry.
Well, I do, but we'll just answer
Okay,
that one first.
so through you, Reeve, for the budget, it comes under the CIP budget. So, and also the direct grants and the tax increment grants are very important for the new investments, whether it's industrial and residential properties. So that's why we included those and various investors and contractors. So other municipalities are providing those grants. And about the money, we can discuss it whenever we receive any applications. So during that time, council can decide what and up to, because there is a cap for the DC and for tax rebate, it's up to 10,000 we could provide in terms of the support program. So we can discuss it during the application submission, because it depends also the type of projects and or the investment could happen in North Huron. But if we are not providing that opportunities for the incoming investment, big organizations. So and it's very important for us to have those type of supports for the new investment.
So again, I don't know if my question was answered. Maybe Director Towns could answer this, right? Because when we go through a budget process, we set a budget, which is the limits that we're going to spend. And those two items are not money we're spending, it's revenue we're not receiving. So I'm not sure how we would set that limit during the budget process.
Right, through you, Reeve Heffer to Councillor Mitch Wright. So currently, in the last previous years, we have allocated, council has approved and allocated $30,000 within the operating budget annually for the current CIP program. As for the taxation incentives or the development charges incentives, we would need to be monies in the budget allocated for that. So it would still be levied. It would just be distributed differently across the ratepayers.
But again, I don't understand how we would, like, we're not spending money, we're deferring revenue or we're waiving revenue. So I can't get my mind how a budget process would put a limit on how much revenue we're going to waive in a particular year, right?
Through your Reeve Heffer to Councillor Wright, we do not have the authority to waive or defer property taxes. So what we do within the CIP budget is we would raise funds to cover any possible write-offs under the program.
Okay, gotcha.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And then my follow-up or my second question is on 7.6. So I just want to understand how the tax relief would work. So again, in the example here, it says that if there's a $10,000 grant, then they would receive 100% in year one, 80% in year two, 60, 40, 20. So does that mean the proposal is that they would get a total of $30,000 over a 5-year period? Because I mean that's the way I read it, but maybe I'm reading it incorrectly.
You want to talk to it?
Through your worship, it would be a maximum of 10,000.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, 100% of the incremental tax increase in the first year, that may be 10,000. If that's 10,000, there are no more payments in the future years. If it's 5,000, that would leave money in the second year. It's to account for what that relief might be in the first year. It might be $1,000, which would leave money in the next few years, is basically how it works. But that keeps your cap at 10,000 for that specific property. But the intent is not to pay 10,000, then another 8,000, then another 6,000 by any means.
And through you, Reeve, it's also, we are proposing that 5-year, and some other municipalities are doing for 10 years as well for the tax increment plan. So it's also the council get chance to define that during the application submission process, whether they can take it for 2 years or 5 years or up to 10 years as per the projected amount for tax increment value.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Van Hitterson, please.
Yes, thank you very much. Is this CIP also available in rural areas for, say, childcare development, like childcare service centers, repair shops, garden centers, or is it really geared towards agritourism?
Through you, Reeve, it is available for the residential, industrial, and commercial properties for new projects who are going to have a economical impact for the North Huron's economy. So it depends on the project, what is coming. If it's the government, of course, we couldn't provide the CIP, but if it's the like non-profitable organization, they are doing any residential development. So we could discuss that project and can provide that CIP support through the council's approval.
And this is a follow-up question for Director Towns. You said we will raise funds if we do the development charges, give a fund for that, raise funds outside of the process. So how are you going to raise funds out of the process? Is that raising municipal taxes, or are you applying for municipal grants by the province? What's the idea there?
Through Reeve Heffer to Councillor Van Hittersum, this would be part of the budget process in the economic development budget themselves. We have currently historically been at raising $30,000 on ratepayers to support the commercial facade program. Within this additional, at this point, it seems like staff would be recommending to increase that number, and would again would also be levied on the ratepayer.
Levied on the ratepayer, yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Deputy Reeve Faulkner, please.
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. It's just a comment that I'd like to make about the lineage of this CIP. Since we first started it on the recognition of how well it worked in Minto and how they were how it was aiding their downtown core. And every time this municipality has expanded it a little bit more, we've gained more traction in that process of upgrading the facades and the looks of our downtowns. And I applaud the moving even further out and they're asking for this bylaw to be expanded. We have a lot of farm gate, a lot of farm tourism. We have small businesses that are not on our main streets in the original kind of a cocoon that we had put up of just where that money was going to go. And it's been more and more the expansion in our municipalities have been equally outside of our downtown cores. With just the type of small businesses that are starting up. So I've applauded this CIP since it started, and it's one of the few programs that we've had that we can actually physically see a promotion in our townships. I applaud the expansion. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any comments from any other members? Go ahead, Councillor Palmer, please.
Just when I started, thank you, Reeve, when I went over this, I felt that like all the new grant program proposals, all coming from the MMAH, and it's all housing, of course, and of course more housing. It's all related to that. And I'm just wondering if we've gotten it thin, if we're going too thin, because it's far reaching. And, we had $30,000 for the last few years. And yes, maybe we may increase it, but it is tax money and we have to be very prudent because we're going to have more needs. We all know there's going to be more askings down the road in our budget process. So I'm, if we had 40,000, say, it could be just 4 applications could suck all that up, or 5. And got to watch I hate saying this, sorry, farmers, but farm shops, you have to define that one better. Anyone can put up a farm shop. Every farmer has one almost, or wants one. So define it. Anyway, that's just my feeling. It's just, I liked it better when it was, more limited. Then we could, help downtowns, both ends, But anyways, we're past that. I'm rambling. Thank you.
Any other comments from members? Seeing none, 5.1.4. This is a public meeting of the Council of the Township of North Huron. Thus, a decision of council may or may not be made this evening on the Community Improvement Plan amendment. If the bylaws are passed by council, the clerk is required to send notice of passing of the bylaws to persons or public bodies that have been written requests to be notified of the decision. There's a 20-day appeal period from the time of the notice of passing of the bylaws has been issued, wherein a notice of appeal is respect to the passing of the bylaws will be received by the clerk. Members of the public do not have the right to appeal the decision of council unless they are the registered owner of any land to which the plan would apply, and they made written or oral submissions to council, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housings, and a specified person under the Planning Act or a public body that has an interest in the matter and that have made written or oral submissions to council may appeal the decision. If an objection through a notice of appeal is received, the appeal is lodged with OLT, and at the point of the township no longer has any control over the time factor involved. If the bylaws are passed and no objections are received within the objection period, the clerk certifies that the bylaws are in force and of effect as of the date of its passing, and the notice is forwarded to the Huron County Planning and Development Department. 5.1.5 Summary comments and recommendations of the Economic Development Officer.
So as per the effect of public and agency comments, so we would like to recommend A3 for the public comments were received in support of the application, the effect of which resulted in the decision to approve the application, and it would be B5. Comments were received from agencies and the issues. Comments were thoroughly considered, but the effect did not influence in the decisions of council to the application.
Thank you. 5.1.6, decision of council and effective comments received on council's decision that the Council of Township of North Huron hereby receives a report of the Economic Development Officer dated December 16, 2024 regarding an amendment to the Community Improvement Plan. And further, that the council agrees to adopt the bylaw number 96-2024 being a bylaw of Township of North Huron to designate a Community Improvement Plan project area and to repeal bylaw number 95-2018 and bylaw number 99-2019 and the bylaw number 97-2024 being a bylaw of the Township of North Huron to adopt a community improvements plan and to repeal bylaw number 96-2018 and bylaw number 100-219 at the December 16th meeting, 2024 regular meeting. May I have a mover? Deputy Reeves, seconder. Councillor Whitfield. Okay, all in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
And again, Clerk Lamb, could you go with motion number 2, please?
Yeah, so the motion being 3A and 5B would be that the council, that for the December 16th, 2024 Community Improvement Plan Amendment, public comments were received in support of the amendment, the effect of which resulted in a decision to approve the amendment. And agency comments were received on the issue of best practices, the effect of which influenced the decision of council to approve the application.
Thank you. May I have a mover? Councillor McBurney, seconder. Councillor Wright, all in favor? Carried. 6, staff report, CL 2024-17, Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan, CSWB-2024 Update 2025 Action Plan. Are there any questions here for CAO Lamb? Go ahead, Councillor Palmer, please.
Yeah, thank you, Reeve. Just wondering, we've had this going for a couple of years. It's 5,000, it's not much, but what do we get? What's the cost benefit? Where are you going? Is homelessness down? Is drug use down? Or, is shelter use down? What are we getting back for this?
Yeah, through your worship, to answer Councilor Palmer's question, what I would say is at this point, it's still very early stages to the implementation. So last year was the first year where the action items within the plan were acted upon. Myself, as I guess the conduit between the oversight committee and council, I'm probably not in the best position to speak to that. Councilor McBurney is a member on the oversight committee, so would be kind of with all those subject matter experts. So I don't know if he has any further thing to add beyond that. But so far from everything we've heard is that the work has been very well received in really doing what it was initially intended to do, which was bring all these different groups together so that they weren't operating in isolation and doing things independent of each other.
So are you fine with that, Councillor Palmer?
Okay, but I just, we need to profit, or the municipality has to profit from it. All the municipalities that are involved have to profit from it. So do you see that happening?
Thank you. Did Councillor McBurney have anything to add to that at all?
You read not at this point, but profiting is what we're doing is everybody's getting on board. It's not really rolling. Just like a few meetings back, we declared a intimate partner creation thing there we had there. And that's little stuff like that. There is a large group.
Okay. Okay, may I have a mover? Councillor Van Hitterson, seconder. Councillor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. Finance 2024-27 insurance renewal for 2025. Are there any questions for Director Towns with this? Seeing, oh, go ahead, Councillor Wright, please.
Thanks, and apologies if I had thought of this question in advance, I would have sent it, but do we know what the tax was approximately last year? Or sorry, the insurance, I'm just curious how much it went up, but.
For you, Reeve, to Councillor Wright, the increase is $56.99. So $5,700 increase at 2.54% from 24.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Palmer.
Thanks, Reeve. Do we know about, okay, I may have missed it. The liability, no, sorry, what's that called? Oh, shoot, I've got a hole. It's when, you know, you've got a claim and you've got to absorb a certain amount. Can't think of the word.
The deductible?
Deductible, sorry.
Yeah, I believe
Is it
that
changed?
I believe not.
Good, good.
Thank you.
Thank you. So any other questions? May I have a mover? Councillor Whitfield, Councillor McBurney, all in favor? Carried. (6.4.1) Public Works 2024-39 North Huron Cemeteries Winter Burials. At this time, are there any questions for either Director McAllister or Jenna is here too also that they can go back and forth? If I see any questions from anybody, go ahead, Councillor Wright, please.
Yeah, so not directly with the report, but with the associated fee schedule. So I understand, you know, we want to charge the extra costs that we incur if we're doing winter burials or other things like that. But just with regards to the one thing where the winter rate applies to all internments, not just burials, right? It seems to me that if you're opening up a grave site in the middle of January, that has, you know, significantly more costs associated with it than if you're just opening up a niche in January, right? So I'm just questioning, I guess, why we have so maybe that assumption's incorrect. If so, glad to be corrected, but it seems like having a one flat rate for all winter interments may not be actually a cost recovery model, right? I'm not sure, you know, what it would be called, but if our intent is to recover costs, I would think interment of, cremated remains in the niche would not be as expensive as winter burial, but glad to hear what you have to say on that.
Through you, Reeve, to Councillor Wright. No, it probably wouldn't be the same. We still need to maintain access in and out to the columbarium or any other place. So we would still need to plow in, plow out, sand and salt. We would still need to do that winter maintenance to ensure that it's safe for anyone accessing the facility. So we would still need to do some form of maintenance to get in and out.
Thank you. Councillor Palmer, please.
Yeah, that would also maybe, as I read, a different piece of equipment to fit the size of the roads too, eh? So, and that was just a comment, a point. Like option 2, at the director's discretion, like we did talk about something like that. And to me, that would work, as long as if you could work very hard at pushing it a little bit longer in the season and a little bit earlier in the spring, then it would make some people happier. But still, we are closed for the dead winter. And because that's a heavy cost in there, and I don't think any of us we don't want to incur that. But it's an option, like we're looking at that option. So at your discretion is one, you could leave it status quo, or just change the day, just move it end of November and end of November and beginning of April. Just if we can show that we can make a bit of a movement, that might help the situation. That's my thought there. I'm not sure what the director thinks.
Through you, Reeve, to Councillor Palmer. With respect to having the director provide that direction, my concern would be, the director's looking after the municipality, and if the directors say would be final or not. It's always come down to a matter of opinion, where right now we stick to the dates, and we don't need to get an opinion based, whether it's too dangerous or it's safe enough. Our dates are there. But whatever council's direction would be the way staff would go.
Thank you. I saw Councillor Van Hitterson's hand, please.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, I would like to Director of Public Works thank for his and Jenna for their reports. We've got a comparison with different municipalities, and we are actually very much the same, or well, no, just very much the same. Some cemeteries even don't do any. There's no choice if there will be interments. This whole complaint is based on one funeral home, and there are many funeral homes using the cemeteries in Blythe and Wingham. This is going on since 2022, and we have had comparables in 2022, 2023, and it's almost always the same, our rates with rates in surrounding municipalities. So I would like to propose to go with the status quo, keep it the way it is.
Okay. Go ahead. Second, we have a mover and seconder. All in favor? Sorry, I defeated. Okay, looking for another option. Councillor Wright?
Yes, thank you, Reeve. So I would recommend we go with option 2, but I think it could be in its execution modified a bit. I think really what's being looked for is not so much a discretionary decision on the director, but defined closing as when winter conditions arrive, and opening when winter conditions end. I think in the bylaw you could very well define what that is, right, between when it starts and when it ends. So I think it would still provide flexibility to provide burials cheaper when we don't actually have winter conditions, but yet not put all the onus just on a discretionary decision of our Director of Public Works. You know, I think it was pretty clear this year when winter started, it was a Friday morning, if I recall correctly. So I would like to propose option 2, but with maybe that extra clarification on how the bylaw could actually be written.
Okay, would our Director Dax like to say anything to that, please?
We can do whatever council requests that we do. Just keeping in mind that we will need to open up the bylaw if we go that route and have the BAO involved. That's gonna take some time for staff to break into, and it's not a quick process, but we can definitely move forward on that. Just not sure what you're looking for as far as describing what winter looks like, whether we use provincial standards or, you know, if I could get some clarification on that, that would be helpful, that we could.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I think it's all based around, again, the extra costs, right? So if you know, if you have to plow, if the ground is frozen and you have to, you know, takes longer to dig, right? Like, I think those are what I'm thinking about as far as winter conditions go. So I think it achieves basically the same end, right? It protects the municipality from performing expensive winter burials, because if you have to bring extra equipment in to perform a burial, then that would be winter conditions, and that would put that would be when it goes into effect. And also then when it lifts again in the spring.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Reid, please.
Yeah, thank you, through Reeve. Do we know what the cost to the budget, next year's budget, that this process is gonna incur if we have to go through the process of staff time to change the burial through the burial agreement? You know what kind of a cost that's going to incur on the township?
Off the top of my head, sorry, through you, Reeve, to the Deputy Reeve, off the top of my head, no, I don't. I do know it's a significant amount of time to go through. We would still need to communicate with the BAO and go back and forth, make sure that we've got everything in place. So that would take away staff time from other tasks that they would be doing. So there is going to be some cost involved, but what that is currently, I couldn't give that to you until we go in and actually look at that.
So then, so through your, will then that put a halt on this until the budget process is complete, or are we adding to this pre-budget?
Our CAO for that, please.
So in regard to staff time, you wouldn't necessarily need to halt any movement on this until the budget's adopted. It would just be, you would have to recognize the fact that staff would be working on this, which would take away from other items they could potentially be working on during that fiscal year. If that makes sense.
Okay, we have a, a mover, a seconder, Councillor Palmer, all in favor?
You want to read it back just to
Oh.
get the addition from council, right? Specifically, maybe if you could clarify again what exactly you're looking for.
Yes, thanks. So I think it would just be based on the cemetery would close based on when, you know, winter conditions arrive. I don't know an elegant way of phrasing it right now. And it would end basically when winter conditions end, right? But it could be up to staff to define what winter conditions are. But, you know, basically it's when we would have to incur extra costs for a burial. We'd want to make sure we're applying a surcharge in order to cover those costs.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
through you, Reeve, to council, right, just for clarification, would that open and close, start and end when we get winter and then at the end of the season? Or are you thinking we open and close as we get warm and cold spells, and like we're seeing different, you know?
No, I think there'd be a single closing and a single opening.
Thank you for the clarification.
So, yeah, so you would remove the current definition for winter burials in the cemetery bylaw is the interment of remains from November 15th to April 15th, right? So you would need to remove those dates, and you would redefine winter burials based on weather conditions. Okay.
Councillor Palmer, seconder.
Yeah, I'll read it back.
Just give interim CAO just a bit of time here to type that up for us, please.
So your new motion would be that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives the report from the Director of Public Works and Facilities dated December 16, 2024 regarding the North Huron Cemetery's winter burials, and further that the Council of the Township of North Huron directs staff to proceed with option 2 as outlined in staff report PW 2024-39 regarding winter burials at the North Huron cemeteries, and further that the cemetery bylaw remove the winter burial dates and redefine the winter burial season based on the first occurrence of winter weather conditions.
Is that fine? That's okay.
So you move
Okay.
your second.
Seconder, all in favor? Carried. Yeah. Is that no? Public Works 2024-40 Bell Lot Snowmobile Land Use Agreement. Are there any questions for Director McAllister at this time? Seeing none, may I have a mover? Councillor Van Hitterson, seconder. Councillor Wright, all in favor? Carried. Six point 5.1 FR 2024-11 fire agreements, 1-year extension request. With this report, are there any questions for Chief Krager or CAO Lamb, please? No questions? And, oh, sorry, I didn't. Go ahead.
Thank you, Reeve. It's, I'm gonna make an amendment to this. What we're seeing is that there's 2 municipalities that want to make the agreement now, Morris Turnberry and ACW. I was reading in the Morris Turnberry's for their meeting tomorrow. It states that very thing. And so if we've got 2 that are ready to go, they want security. And then there's Central Huron that has, I don't know what they were doing. They've got their reasons for stalling at this point. So, and that's been 2 years now with them. So to kick this can down the road just doesn't make sense. Let's just get on with it. I know our previous CAO was maybe wanting to get them all grouped together and so they can do one and you know, that can work. But these 2 are ready to go, and I have a hard time saying no to that. So my amendment will be keep the first, you know, that we receive it, and then get rid of the other two paragraphs and just keep it simple and just say that that we wish for the staff to conclude the 5-year agreements with ACW and Morris Turnberry.
Yeah, through your worship, to answer council or to, I guess, comment to Councillor Palmer's comments, though this is something that we as staff did think of whether we could potentially pursue this approach. The challenge is based on what the agreement with Central Huron and North Huron looks like. That has implication on those other fire partners as well. So you wouldn't want them to enter into an agreement that has implications on them based on what another fire partner does, based on fire service coverage.
Deputy Reed, please.
Yeah, through your, the agreement then would have to be that the other Morris Turnberry and the ACW would have to be in agreement to pull in the extra finances that Central Huron was paying into it. They would have to up their, it would be split in thirds instead of quarters. So they would have to be in their motion to pay that extra for the other municipality that was paying into the agreement, because the costs still stay the same, but they would just be spread over fewer people. So I don't know whether they'd be ready to do that or not.
Well, we could just have extend their agreement for another year until they're ready. I'd love to hear from you. Please, Chet.
Go ahead, Chief Krager, please.
Through you, Reeve. Yeah, just to back up Deputy Reeve Faulkner there, I think it's in our best interest to do the year extension, or we're gonna come back to another meeting to make changes to the agreements with ACW and Morris Turnberry. So if we just work through the year agreement, we'll all be on the same page at the end of it all, and it'll be a lot cleaner. If that makes any sense to you.
May I carry on?
Go ahead.
I don't know, I'm just concerned that we've got two that are wanting to go and maybe not understanding why not. And the last thing I want to do is, like, they're partners. And last thing I want to do is bother them over it. Like, they want it now, why not? And I understand what you're saying. It makes it maybe cleaner, but still, they all come into the fold eventually, like Central Huron will at some point, but maybe not. We don't know what they're doing. They've got other ideas, it seems like. And so we'll have to see, but we do have two partners that want it. And if we want to do an extension for them, then so be it. And then hopefully they do see everything clear and want to have a full, another 5-year agreement with us as well. And then maybe try and bring them all together. But right now, like, I don't think we should say no to two partners that are really wanting it. Judging by what I'm reading here.
Go ahead, CO Lamb.
Yeah,
please.
through your worship, what I can say is, so both Morris Turnberry and ACW are fully aware of the scenario. There's been constant communication with our counterparts there. They are both those municipalities are taking similar staff reports to extend at this time as well, because they had no concern from a staff level. That being said, you could, if you see fit, you could amend this motion for North Huron to request that. But ultimately, anyways, you're at the 16th of December. You wouldn't have it coming back for when this agreement is set to expire anyways at this point. So this agreement, based on the resolution passed by council last year, is set to expire at the end of December. So really, you'd want to make sure that you have something in place to ensure there's fire coverage effective January 1 anyways.
Okay, I'll take it back then.
Okay, so I have a mover. May I have a mover, please? Councillor McBurney, seconder, Councillor Wright, all in favor? Carried. 6.6.1 CS 2024-21 North Huron Museum Deaccession Project Report number 18, pre-budget approval request. Okay, are there any questions for our coordinator at this time? Yeah, come on up, please. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Van Hitterson, please.
Well, this is more about the second part, about the approval of the assistant. I thought we did that already.
Through you, Reeve Heifer, to Van Hitterson, sorry, my voice is not good. That was actually a report that came to for status. There wasn't a pre-budget approval. Their contracts actually end at the end of the year. So I would like to make that concrete, and budget will not be passed by the end of the year. So that's why I've asked for pre-budget approval.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Palmer, please.
Thank you, Reeve. So is this going to be it then? Would they be done? Because, this has been adding up.
This has been.
It's been a big job, I
Yeah,
understand.
it has been a big job. The one thing I can guarantee you is that I couldn't ask for two better staff to have made this go this quickly. So that's all I can guarantee. We've tried to put a timeline. If there's no hiccups, then this will be the final timeline. But again, I can't, I haven't been able to predict this whole entire time. So I'm sorry, I don't have a better answer for you, but I do stress that the two people that are there right now I'm very thankful, and they have been going faster than Elizabeth ever predicted. So Elizabeth Gibson French from the Huron County Museum has kept a close eye, and she has the knowledge and the background to be able to do this. And she agrees with me that there has been no way to shorten this efforts in any way. And if there is, then we have.
Okay. Any other question? Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. When the deaccessioning is finished and we're down to the point where it's auctioning off of the unwanted items, do we anticipate or do we have any idea whether that would generate any profit?
It will. I don't know the amount of
No.
profit, but it would. Sometimes it actually counteracts the costs of having the auction. So you will have a cost for the auction, but yes, there could be a profit.
Are we expecting it to be a fairly large allotment of articles for this?
I am just not knowledged in that area. It all depends on who the buyer is. If you've got the buyers out there for the specific item, it can be very profitable.
No,
But if-
I meant
sorry.
the amount of artifacts left over. Is it going to be would that be a fair
Oh.
large amount, or or a small amount?
Sorry, for an auction, it would be a smaller amount, only because we've been so successful with the Huron County taking so much, and then the list being explained that the next museum or institution that is being contacted is Bruce Museum. So we don't know what they want or what they can take, because all of them are actually limited on space themselves. But I will be bringing back a full update on what's going on.
Thank you. Any other questions for coordinator? No. Seeing none, may I have a mover? Councillor Van Hitterson, seconder. Councillor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. 6.6.2 CAO 2024-27 Commercial Facade Improvement Grant Application 143 Josephine Street, Wingham. Are there any questions for Ritu? Seeing none, may I have a mover? Councillor Van Hitterson, seconder. Councillor Wright, all in favor? Carried. CAO 2024-28 CAO Recruitment Services Proposal. At this time, we'll turn it over to our CAO Lamb, please.
Through your worship, not much more to add beyond what's in the report and the attached proposals, right? So one of the steps in recruiting a CAO is recruitment services. So 4 proposals have been received, each with varying costs, timelines, and other offerings as part of their proposals. The full proposals were attached to the report. So at this time, looking for council direction on which proposal you would like to proceed with to start that process for recruitment of a new CAO. The one thing noted in the report is that all of the proposals require some sort of formation of a CAO recruitment team. So just to continue on in that process, it would also be prudent for council to appoint up to 3 members of council to that CAO recruitment, and that will continue to push that process along with the successful proponents. So throw it out to the floor for council's preferred proponent.
Are there any questions for our CAO at this time? Go ahead, Councillor Van Hitterson, please.
Thank you, Reeve. Does anybody have any experience with any of these companies? Is there, have we used them before? Is there a preference from senior management?
Yeah, so through your worship, to answer Councillor Van Hitterson's question, previously the township has used NG Beljamer and Associates with the previous 2 recruitments. All 4 are very reputable in regard to CAO recruitments. They have varying timelines, varying different replacement guarantees. So all that each does it a little differently, but all of them have previous references of successful CAO recruitments. Yeah, so I guess that would be my comments at this time.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question. I see there is a, like Waterhouse Executive Search has a timeline from 6 to 8 weeks. Is that, are we looking at something like that, or is a longer time preferable?
So what I would say about that is if they believe they can meet the timelines, they will do their best to meet those timelines. Generally, a large firm like Waterhouse will already have potential candidates that they're aware of, that they have their feelers already out for who's looking to pursue a CAO role, or they keep tabs on the industry. So that is likely something that would expedite your process. But yeah, I guess my comment would be they feel quite confident they can meet those timelines, or they wouldn't have put in.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Palmer, please.
Yeah, just wondering if they failed to come up with a candidate at 8 weeks, what happens? Would they request a longer period of time? Have they already blown through that money at that point? Yeah, just not sure.
Ultimately, the steps in the process include working through an employment agreement with assistant counsel with that process, right? So they can't advance to those final steps if counsel hasn't landed on a successful candidate. So it may just delay the timeline. But ultimately, you could run into that with any scenario if counsel's not comfortable with the candidate that's preferred. That's part of the process sometimes as well.
Okay,
Follow-up, please.
ahead.
Is it standard for them for either of them to bring more than one candidate forth to us?
So through your worship, to answer Councilor Palmer's question, in a lot of these scenarios, the successful proponent would take direction from the CAO recruitment team in how many candidates to proceed with, but each you would have noticed in the proposal, each firm does things slightly differently. So it would basically be based on their proposals and then the wishes of the recruitment team.
Okay, go ahead, Deputy Reid, please.
Thank you. Through your to the acting CAO. Out of these three proposals, two are kind of open-ended as to, whatever out of pocket and expenses onto their quote, and one seems to include it in their quote. Do you have any preference as to which contract would be the most effective and most cost effective and both and effective in coming to the same conclusion?
Through your worship, to answer Deputy Reid Falconer's question, I think you'd be better served by the ones that include the all-inclusive fees.
Go ahead, Councillor Wright, please.
Yeah, so not making a motion at this point, just expressing a thought for discussion that, at the face value, to me, it looks like the Waterhouse bid has a lot of advantages. It's got a short timeline, which is better than a long one. It's not quite the lowest cost, but it's close to it, and they provide the best guarantee. And so looking at the amount of money we're spending for this, the fact that they're willing to offer a long guarantee usually means they're good at what they do and never have to honor that guarantee, because there's very seldom a need to. So I just want to get those thoughts out there before I jumped in with a motion.
So any other comments, or can we go to Councillor Wright's motion there? We'll put,
Okay, well, I'll make a motion then.
Yep.
to
well,
proceed
nobody
with
raised
the,
their hands, so
to
good.
proceed with the Waterhouse proposal.
Okay. Seconder? Oh, sorry, comment?
Yeah, so So through your worship, there's a couple things I need. So with the Waterhouse one, there was the $22,500 cost plus HST, or they've also provided the other option to exclude testing and job ads, and those would be additional costs that the township would pay for. And then the rate would be 19,500. So I do recommend that you go with the first one of the 22.5 that includes those costs. And then the second part of it is, if council's comfortable with that, is your CAO recruitment team. So my recommendation would be that the Reeve and Deputy Reeve at a minimum sit on it. And then whether you want to add one more counselor, and that keeps you under quorum.
Go ahead, Councillor Palmer, please.
Yeah, I'd like to recommend Councillor Wright.
Okay. You stand for that?
Yes, I would be willing to, Reeve. Thank you.
Thank you. So I just give our CAO just a moment here to fill in, and then I'll let him read off, then we'll go for the vote.
So your motion would be that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives the report of the interim Chief Administrative Officer and Director of Legislative Services Clerk dated December 16th, 2024 regarding CAO recruitment services, and further that Council hereby awards the proposal for CAO recruitment services to Waterhouse Executive Search in the amount of 22,500 plus HST, and further that the CAO recruitment team be comprised of Reeve Heffer, Deputy Reeve Falconer, and Councillor Wright to assist with the CAO recruitment process in the manner described within the selected proposal. So your mover was originally Councillor Wright, so provided you're fine with that addition. And then the second, I believe, was Councillor, Deputy Reeve. So
Deputy Reeve.
provided you're fine with that as well.
Okay, all in favor? Carried. Correspondence requiring action or direction. 7.1, request for extension for a commercial facade improvement grant at 241, 243 Josephine Street. Yeah, we'll turn it over to our interim CAO, please.
So through your worship, so this correspondence was received. So in the executed agreements for commercial facade grants, the applicants have 18 months to complete the work. So this was a project that was approved in 2023, that the 18 months is coming up for, in, I believe, March or so of 2025. The applicant has acknowledged that due to certain factors, they're not necessarily able to meet those timelines and is requesting an extension, which under those agreements is required to be approved by council. So they're requesting until July 31st of 2025. From a staff's perspective, we see no concern with that. You've been holding those funds allocated for that project. So to extend it an additional 3 months really is no concern to us, but it is recommended that you include a specific timeline in any extension.
So what do we have?
I have a motion.
Okay.
and that's where you-
Okay, are there any comments? Go ahead, Deputy Reeve, please.
Yeah, the three Reeve, yeah, the only comment I have on the, is just the unfortunate choice of words in there that they have, believed, not being, supplies not being delivered on time and not having enough funds to complete it at this time. There's no guarantee here in 3 months they'll have, like, there's nothing on their end saying that they're ready to go ahead with the project, even if we do extend it. I would have liked a little more insurance that if we're going to extend it, rather than give it to someone that's ready to go, because I know we have had, or do have, other requests for the CHIP program. So I that's all I do. I would like to have some kind of insurance that in that 3 months, if we're only extending it for 3 months, that they'll have that project underway and ready to go.
Through your worship, unfortunately, there's no guarantee with something like that. But if council's not comfortable with granting a further extension, then that's entirely within your prerogative as well. And if that was the case, the existing agreement would stand. They'd still have the ability to complete the project until the current deadline, which would be that 18 months. And it would just be communicated that they won't receive any further extension beyond that.
Councillor Wright, please.
Just a point of clarification though, and I guess to Director Towns, if this was allocated under a previous CIP budget, like a previous year, it wouldn't actually affect any new CIP applications, correct?
You are correct, Councillor Wright.
Okay. Okay, we'll go to Councillor Palmer, then do Deputy Reeve, please.
Yeah, thank you, Reeve. Yeah, just make it that it's a final extension.
Deputy Reeve, please.
Thank you. Through your, just a clarification, if a CIP grant was not awarded, would that grant money not go back in and be added to the next year? If there was money left over?
Through you, Reeve Heffer to Deputy Reeve Faulkner. We budget it each year for CIP funds. Any unused funds go into a working reserve, and we monitor those funds. And they sit there, and if they do not get utilized for a specific project, as the reserve fund is outlined, it'll go back into the Economic Development Reserve Fund for future requests.
So the next year, if it was 30,000 and there was 10 left, it wouldn't be just 20 on the budget, it would be another 30 on the budget because we'd throw that 10 someplace else?
The way the reserve fund is designed is those funds go in for future considerations into the reserve.
Thank you.
Thank you. So where are we on that?
Yeah, so if council was supportive of an extension of the timelines, taking into Councillor Palmer's comment, your motion could look something like that: the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby approves a final extension of the timeline for completion of the commercial facade improvement grant project for 241 to 243 Josephine Street, Wingham, until July 31st, 2025.
Okay, may I have a mover? Councillor Wright, seconder. Councillor McBurney, all in favor? Carried. Okay, at this time, we're going to council reports. I just like to give a shout out to the Friends of Blythe. The parade that they put on Saturday was exceptional. Just thank you for all the volunteers down there that put that on. I know the kids enjoyed it. They had lots of candy and lots of adults. They're all seem to be in good humor. It's just sort of nice doing that. It is great, lots of fun. And again, I'd like to, as mentioned already a little bit tonight about MPP Lisa Thompson helping out. I just felt that she went above and beyond in helping us to get some of that money back from the OPP for the overcharge theirs. And I just want to take this time, thank her on behalf of council. It was very muchly appreciated. Then I saw in our recreation thing, I saw Solid Ground Landscaping. They're putting on 2 free skates on December 23rd, 27. That is very much appreciated, seeing outside people coming in and putting funds into to make enjoyment for the children through the summer Christmas break there. And down in Blythe, again, TCC Communications gave them 2 free skates again. And I just feel it'd be great if we could maybe send a letter to them, because that's very much appreciated. I know a lot of kids will have fun from that. And again, from the Avon Maitland Teachers Federation Association, they're putting on a public swim on December 29th, 1 to 3. Again, it'll be lots of fun there for the children. And then I'd like to also mention the Vance Fund. We were able to put that money out, but 85,000 went to hospital and to the churches, each getting 85, and the school bursaries were approximately 135. And we're fortunate in town here. There's a bit of money that was left over. 8,800 went to the trail. And then for doing the work that Director Stice is working on down at the complex, 161,000 is going towards that. So again, just kudos out to the Vance for what they're doing for the town here. Is just wonderful. It's just going to be so much appreciated. So that's all for me. Is there anybody from committees? Go ahead, Councilor Van Henderson.
Thank you, Reeve. Physicians Recruitment Committee had their meeting. They're working on the terms of reference and on the memorandum of understanding with the municipalities. Dr. Bezzazo is a internationally trained doctor that is working in Wingham right now. He is gradually under the supervision of Dr. Henderson. He's gradually accepting new patients eventually, and it's going very well. I also went to the Police Board Zone 5 meeting. Zone 5 is Southwestern Ontario. We had a presentation from the sort of human crowd control, how they work, what they do, what gear they're wearing, how they work with people. It's all very valuable education for me because with the community safety and well-being plan, it is very, very interesting to know how the police works and what they, how they are trying to work with people on the streets, and what as a board member I can come to.
Thank you. Are there any other committee reports? Go ahead, Councillor McBurney, please.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Reeve. In regards to CHIP, the Coalition for Hearing Injury Prevention, we've just published a horse and buggy handbook. It's complete and printed. The Amish elders and the OPP will have a bearing on this getting out to the public. Our ATV project mapping, it was decided we're only going to do one version. It's not done yet. And it's going to be provided to the OPP.
Oh.
And the CSWB group, my last meeting, I was at a CHIP meeting, so it's kind of double booked.
Good. Okay, thank you. Any comments by members? Councillor Palmer, please.
Yeah, thank you, Reeve. Is it possible that staff gives us a chart or a tree of employees? We've hired a lot of people, a lot of new people, and like I don't get into the office much. I don't go much beyond Carson's his office, so I don't know who's in there. So is it possible? It's something simple, I think, and maybe rec.
Through your worship, just to see clarity, are you looking for like an org chart of positions or like specific?
Well, their name
individuals?
and position, of course. Yeah,
Yep, so.
as simple as possible.
Yep, that's something that staff can work through for sure.
Thanks.
That'd be very much appreciated for sure. Okay. No other comments by members? Okay. Notice of motions. Any notice? Seeing none. Bylaw. Bylaw number 93-2024, appointment of Committee of Adjustments for 2025. May I have a mover? Councillor Palmer, Councillor Van Hitterson, all in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 94-2024, appointment of Integrity Commissioner, closed meeting investigator, and ombudsman. May I have a mover? Councillor McBurney, Deputy Reeve, all in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 95-2024, Bell Lot Snowmobile Land Use Agreement. May I have a mover? Councillor McBurney and Councillor Whitfield. All in favor? Bylaw number 96- carried. Sorry. Carried. Bylaw number 96-2024, designation of community improvement plan project area. May I have a mover? Councillor Whitfield, Councillor Wright, all in favor? Carried. 9.5, bylaw number 97-2024, adoption of community improvement plan. May I have a mover? Deputy Reeve, seconder, Councillor McBurney, all in favor? Carried. 9.6, bylaw number 98-2024, agricultural land lease agreement with Arden Codas. May I have a mover? Councillor Palmer, Councillor Van Hitterson, all in favor? Carried. Next meeting, regular council meeting, will be held on Monday, January 13th, 2025 at 6 p.m. right here. Next Wingham BIA Board meeting will be held on Thursday, December 19th, 2024 at 6:30 Hot Stove Lounge at the North Huron West Cast Complex. And the next Blythe BIA Board meeting will be held on Thursday, January 30th, 2025 at 8 a.m. in the first floor meeting room of the Blythe and District Community Center. Are there any other announcements? Seeing none. Other business, none. Closed session reporting out that the Council of Township of North Huron hereby proceeds at 7:16 to an in-camera session under, closed to the public under section 239 2E of the Municipal Act to discuss the following: litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, directing regarding litigation, and further that interim CAO and Director of Legislative Service / Clerk and the Director of Finance Treasurer remain in attendance. May I have a mover? Councillor Van Hitterson, Councillor Wright, all in favor? Carried. Yes, we'll have a 5-minute break.